That was pretty much it from a headline perspective.
But you still didn't really answer my question, but I appreciate all that piece. I just
I
want to
didn't answer
know
which question.
what is this Tesla thing going to be? Fan?
What is the
It's
Tesla thing?
yeah. What do you
Oh,
think it is?
I
No,
don't
I
think it's
loved
an
what you said.
eVTOL.
I'm not taking away from what you said.
No, no, no. Well, I didn't think. I don't think it's an eVTOL. I think it'd be something else. But I've been wrong a lot here. So add it to the list if I am. I would actually think it's more. It'd be more prominent for them to, um, try to create their own chip that they could, put out there. So if I wanted to see a headline, I'd prefer to see that. There was a I think it was Jason Calcanis who tweeted that what if this is a fan that just kind of like pulls the roadster lower? If you saw that, then
I
unwind the
did see
move.
that. I saw that too. What
Yeah,
if
if we
it's a
see that,
hubcap on a cheap model?
yeah. No, I mean,
I don't
what if
think, or
it's
a will cover. I don't think it is, but
just a fan, right? So you could be a
just a
fanboy.
desktop fan.
Yeah. Yeah, so they're gonna go into the Dyson market. I don't know, but I just look at it like the announcement's what, tomorrow evening. Probably trade Archer and Tesla into that. I'm long both. We'll see what comes of it. If it goes up another 5%, maybe I'll hold some. From Archer's perspective, I've been long that one, since upper single digits to low double digits. So I'll probably still hold some of the position. It's pressing up against uh what is that level? Pressing up against that 14 level resistance level. I mean, dude, the thing is up 34% in 2 days. I mean, probably going to gap up tomorrow, probably push towards that $15. I don't. It's not one of those things that I'd want to go out and chase unless like what Stock Doc said, like they're just going to do some sort of partnership where they buy Archer, right? Like, and even then, you don't want to chase it once it's announced. So, not the game I'd play. But my bet would be not eVTOL. My bet would be um, a GPU fan or something like that.
Yeah, there was a cryptic tweet from Elon back in June or July. She said something, one of the craziest things the design team had ever come up with. I don't know. I don't know. There's a lot of people trying to connect a lot of dots, so we'll see what happens tomorrow. Of course. Stock talk. Any guesses?
I don't know. I mean,
I got 2 minutes to the
like
top of the hour, so
the volume on Archer and the teaser trailer, and like I get what people like. I get why people are thinking it, and I get why the stock was up, 20% or whatever it was up today. Like I get why people are speculating on it. I just don't like. Has Elon ever been the guy that's like? I don't know. It just doesn't seem very Elon. I don't know. I could be completely wrong here, but I don't know what it's going to be. I get that people thought it was like a eVTOL rotor because it was like spinning, but I don't think it's going to be
You
anything
could you
outside of
could
their current line of products. But I'll be floored if it is. Like, great. I mean, I own Tesla. That's great, but I don't know.
you could gigabrain it and say, the path to $1 trillion paydays, just make as many deals as possible and flip the narrative on himself.
boom.
Yeah, like growth through acquisition, it could be that. But I mean, they're not like a growing company. I mean, they don't even have an eVTOL. That's what I don't get. Like, Joby has one, but they don't have one. So I just don't get that. Like, the midnight that they test, like you can go to their page. It's not an eVTOL. So I don't know. It just doesn't feel like very Elon to go to a company that doesn't even have the product and just be like, yeah, we're gonna build one with you. I mean, maybe. I don't know. Maybe something happened behind the scenes, like Brad and Elon like made up or something, and I don't know. I don't know. Or maybe Brett's not even involved in Archer anymore. I also don't know that. That's why I was asking the audience. Hopefully somebody knew, but maybe he's not even involved. So I don't know.
Like,
Maybe
the
it
other
could be that.
post they had was just headlights too. So like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
The only thing I'm confident on is that Brett and Elon don't like each other because they've both been explicit about that. But outside of that, I don't know. Like maybe there's some way that this happens through some other. I'm just trying to imagine, like, I don't know. Maybe Tesla supplies them batteries for eVTOLs or something. I don't know. I don't know.
All right.
No clue.
Tough,
I
tough.
wish I
Yeah,
had a
we'll see
good
what
guess. I don't
happens.
have a good guess.
I wish I did too. It didn't bother me that much when I first saw it, but like the more time I look at it, the more I like just get stuck wasting time thinking about
But
it.
what I will say though is something is probably coming for the eVTOL stocks because obviously the charts look good even prior to today. I'm not even talking about this move, but charts look good on both of them. There's been a ton of flow on both of them. Something's probably coming for those eVTOL stocks. Maybe a follow up of Trump's executive order. Maybe Tesla is the catalyst. Maybe I don't know, but something's coming for those stocks. So I think if you're long on those stocks, I don't think you should be like running out of them or anything out of fear. I mean, they look good, but I would say my bias is towards something positive happening for those stocks in the next month or so, based on what I've seen in the flow and what I see on the chart. So, I mean, look at the volume on those things recently too has been pretty good. So, yeah,
All right. Great show today. Cowboys are 2-0 against the city of New York. So great day. I wish Evan was here to hear that. Um, all right. The whole thing's recorded. As always, I got to close this down and go open up stock picks for the week. We had 5 people with a 19% return over the last week. Just absolutely crushed it, which, yes, the market's ripping, all those things, but just absolutely crushed it. Come tune in over there on Wolf Financial right now. I'm going to close this out. We'll see you guys over there. Stocks on Spaces. We'll see you guys tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern. Go Cowboys.
thanks everyone. Okay, would not be possible without everyone showing up in the place that they're in at this current moment. So I appreciate you. And yeah, I have to go do some work. But yeah, I probably can't host tonight. Maybe Sierra will though. Maybe I will. Well, maybe Alex will or Dallas. But otherwise, I'll see you on the timeline. Go follow my panel. The space is not good without them. And give me some love. All right.
Some quick love. It's good to see you again, buddy. It's been a while.
Absolutely. All right. See you guys.
Look insane, and maybe some individual charts need breathers from these like vertical ups. It's just crazy, but it's probably just going to rotate somewhere else for the time being.
I hear you on that. Appreciate that, Ben. And glad we got you in on the front half of the show here, of course. If anyone needs to jump out, feel free to throw up a hand. We'll get you in a little bit sooner. If not, we'll go ahead and finish out some market sentiment thoughts around the board here. I want to go to our current champion, Vegas. Vegas absolutely crushed it with the RGTX long. The TSLL long did well. I mean, beat the market still on that one, but 48.97%, one of the better returns. I don't know, Ben, before Vegas jumps in, Ben, do you know what the record is? I'm just curious off the top of your head. I think we've had one or two up
Uh,
in the 30s, 40s before,
this
but I'm
is
not sure.
I don't know what the record is. We've been in this a couple of years, but 93% return on RGFTX. It's got to be one of the biggest I've ever seen. Definitely in recent memory. So she nailed it.
Yeah, absolutely nailed it. Either way, appreciate that, Ben. Vegas, let's go. Let's jump in. You're our current champion, back on the podium,
Yeah.
holding that gold medal. RGTX absolutely smashed it. Would love to hear any of your thoughts around those that pick, or and then of course your market sentiment thoughts in general. Stay bullish. You've pounded the table on
You know
this.
what? So listen, I mean, I saw Rigetti chart last week because actually, the week before I left for vacation because I just came back last night. But I picked Rigetti because I like the quantum space. But when I was looking at the chart, it was showing me a breakout on the weekly. So I thought, you know what? Let me pick this stock and I'll take the ETF angle because I know I have a feeling it's gonna have a nice breakout based on the way it was looking on the weekly. And I got to be honest. I mean, I did not think that the ETF was going to go that bananas. Like it went crazy. I was getting alerts on my phone. I actually left my phone in the room on purpose because I did not want to watch the markets when I was away. And I needed to disconnect from charts and phones and technology. So I didn't really care. I wasn't really watching, but I mean, at night I take a quick peek and I'm like, oh my god, what is happening? My chat room was messaging me, and I was like, guys, don't message me. And they're like, we have to just tell you about your RGTX because we're banking. And I'm like, oh my god, what's it doing? And I took a look and I'm like, holy crap! Like I was shocked myself how much it moved. So yeah, that's had a beautiful move. So congrats if anyone traded the actual ETF and even if you took the stop on a comments angle. So yeah, I'm gonna do a whole video on Rigetti, the company. So yeah, I'm very pleased with that. But again, I wasn't expecting that kind of a move. So yeah, thank you. Thank you for my trophy, even though I wasn't really working. You know what they say, let the stocks work for you. I like people to consider doing some investing long term because you can let things work for you and you don't have to do anything and just monitor the progress or don't have to buy stocks that you got to babysit constantly because then you're constantly managing trades. But if you can buy good companies with good fundamentals, you don't have to really babysit them. So anyhow, uh, that's my thoughts on Rigetti. But I'll do a video on Rigetti. You wanted to know, oh yeah, and TSLL. You know what, Tesla, still strong. That was my second pick. Looks really good. Looks really good today. I think we'll hear some news on the FSD 14 uh, coming up and why that's important. And I don't want to talk about why it's important because I'll take up the whole show. So that's for another day. but that's still a really good setup there. Really like still liking this weekly chart. But anyways, to answer your question, so I get to the point, right, about my thoughts on the market. So I'm still bullish, as you guys all know, for like permabull, and people sometimes don't like permabulls, but the market's giving you such great opportunities that you cannot ignore. So when the market's this strong, you just follow the flow, follow the money, see what's going on. I saw the Nasdaq hit fresh highs really thanks to AMD and also Tesla. I mean, AMD was just a monster move, and it kind of offset some declines in the consumer staples and telecom as well. Because I saw Verizon was down a little bit and Starbucks was down earlier. The Dow also dipped on some industrial weakness, but Asia rallied quite sharply. And then we saw earlier in the day the Nikkei rebounded on yen weakness and export optimism. So I think that Europe traded kind of flat with a lot of subdued earnings and the early central bank rate cut expectations. Now, are we going to get a rate cut? I don't really know. Kind of thinking with the concerns about, I'm just thinking like what goes through Powell's brain. And like, although you should be cutting rates, and should cut them a lot sooner because he's too late. I think in his mind, he might be using it as an excuse now to not do anything with the rate cut this month. Maybe he'll save it for November because he might say that with what's happening with the government, not working right now, that it's a little risky and concerns with that. So he might use that as an excuse to basically keep it copacetic. So that's kind of what my thoughts are on that. But overall, gold kind of stabilized and people using it to obviously hedge gains, policy volatility. Oil was kind of pressured with a lot of stockpiling and the OPEC production hikes as well. So I think we're going to have a lot of economic events this week too, because don't forget tomorrow we have the FOMC minutes. I think no, tomorrow's the trade balance and FOMC minutes is Wednesday. And then Friday, what I'm looking for is the Michigan sentiment report. And then we have a lot of earnings with Delta and Pepsi. So I think the persistent shutdown could also widen the high yield spreads to 450 basis points by year end. So we'll see. I think a lot of equities will consolidate near highs if the AI momentum will still persist, which it will. But a lot of people are, risking off positioning, favoring bonds and US dollars. So we'll see what happens with these geopolitical and tariff headwinds. I mean, I just try to shut the noise off. Like, I really just block it out. Like, I'm not going to let those headlines cloud my mind. So for now, I remain on the bull camp and I will stay there until I see that it's time to scale back and maybe have some hedges. So for now, that's just my personal thoughts.
Beautiful. Congratulations on the great pick. And of course, hope you're enjoying your time as well. And appreciate your thoughts there around the market. Let's continue around here. Second place was Stock Sniper at 23.91%. I don't see a Stock Sniper here. So we'll go to third place. Third place, Sam Solid, CLSK, BMNR. Both great returns, gave you 20.68% average, and that bronze medal up there on the podium. Sam Solid, what are your market sentiment thoughts?
This is absurd. How is 20% a freaking bronze? Dude, Vegas, you wrecked it. Like, wrecked it. I don't. So somebody's 20% in 1 week of bronze medal. That's insane. But it's all good. It's all good. I
Five
mean,
trading days.
yeah,
Five trading days. Well, did you hear
And the
the
trophy should be a platinum trophy now. No more gold. Platinum.
that's
Platinum.
insane.
platinum?
Yeah.
Platinum, whatever
Oh,
you want. But
man.
well, Sam, we had five people with 19% or
I
better. I
know.
mean, you
Jeez.
almost got knocked off the podium, believe it or
I
not, at
did. I did.
20.68.
I did. And you know what? If after hours counted, bull trade would definitely, or Grotz would definitely be up there. Cause
Oh, I'd
or
be
not,
number
sorry,
one
not.
by miles, I think.
Yeah. I don't know about number one. Vegas, Vegas is still pretty up there, but you would probably be like number two or something. But yeah, no, that after hours move on Oscar is pretty insane. I mean, I don't I don't know how to boast it or anything, but that was probably one of the most obvious plays as it pulled back into the low teens, only because you had the technicals line up. We know HCA is not going to go anywhere. If it was going to go somewhere, he would lose all the votes in the most of the votes in the midterms. Like, you cannot get rid of that. It's just, you're going to make a lot of people upset, especially the votes that really do count in size. Anyways, Yeah, I mean, I think the narrative for me was that I thought we were going to head to 104K in Bitcoin last week. And I also thought Ethereum was going to go to about 3,000, and that's the 200-day moving average. We broke the 50-day and the 20-day pretty nastily the week prior. And I think around that time, Bitcoin was actually testing the recovery of the 20 and 50-day moving average. Ethereum was still a little bit of a ways down. And I saw that CleanSpark had the rotation, or sorry, the optionality that they put into data center or HPC versus their usual Bitcoin mining business. Now they didn't buy any GPUs or anything, but they just said they have the option of doing it. And I was doing a little more research. In fact, um, and you guys probably know, like I interviewed Kanan, who's the ASIC designer for all the Bitcoin miners, the head ASIC designer, the leading company. And they were saying that it's quite easy for these Bitcoin mining companies to actually pivot their hardware into data center and HPC. Obviously, there's a lot of sentiment and hype with the data center stuff. So we don't actually know if CleanSpark's going to follow through with it. But on top of that, it has the mining or has the Bitcoin mining correlation. So that's why I thought it was a good play. And it turned out in my favor. Sitting for Ethereum, BM&R. So I basically put on the trades for both Ethereum and Bitcoin catalysts. And look where we ended up today. I mean, it is probably this is the same indicator that we had for Bitcoin and Ethereum back in April. Well, more of Bitcoin, that we didn't exactly get that massive breakdown to the degree that we got the market. I mean, Bitcoin did get in a bear market, more than 20% from its. I think the high was around 110K around that time. But it didn't fall nearly as much as you would think when the market was down in a bear market. So we kind of got a little bit of the fake breakdown. And what happens when you trap a bunch of shorts in the market and you rip up? Well, that's a lot of short covering the rally. And then you go to get the money that's sitting on the sidelines that it's waiting for a pullback. I'm not talking about the money market funds. I'm talking about just people in general who want the market to pull back so they can get back, so they can get in or capture some alpha. And now they have no choice but to keep buying. So I'm bullish as well. I don't know how you can be bearish this. Like I don't know how you can be bearish this without already being bearish for quite some time. There's nothing on the landscape that says that we're gonna have a pullback tomorrow. Now, in general, though, I would not say that we're not going to have a pullback anytime soon. I think that it might happen soon. Well, maybe not soon, but I think it might happen eventually. As DJ David Solomon says from Goldman Sachs, we're going to get a pullback next 12 to 24 months. Like, okay, buddy, of course we're going to get a pullback next 12 to 24 months. But the thing is, I'm not going to sit over here and be like, oh, it's going to happen soon, because soon could be a pullback in 5 or 6 months back to the same levels we're trading at today. So you would basically be underweight stocks, missing the entire run up. And at the same time, like, is this the time to like go 100% leverage, 100% all in now? Probably not. I mean, I would just say keep playing the same playbook. You know, if you're already long, stay long, right? Take some trims if you want to. You know, I know a lot of you guys are more shorter term traders. Obviously, you have your own playbook you want to play by and your own rules and so on. But at the same time, like, dude, this is not a time to be bearish. Like, you just cannot be bearish from this market on a fundamental basis, on a financial basis, because you have earnings in a couple of weeks from all of the mega caps, which has been pretty much lagging this whole time. So I would even say this is more of consolidation rather than rotation or consolidation of the mega caps that do matter in the market. You get a lot of small and mid caps running. I mean, holy crap, dude! IREN, freaking Nebius, and all these small Bitcoin mining stocks turning into data centers, like they are just running hard. And it's just, how do you be bearish this? Like it is completely risk on. Like there's no confirmation, there's nothing like that. Better just stay with the trend. The trend is your friend. So I'm staying bullish stocks. I'm staying bullish crypto. Sold a few covered calls today, but continuing to play the same playbook, selling put credit spreads on strong charts when they pull back. And that has been just doing very well, like low risk put credit spread setups where it is literally like a 5-to-1 ratio in terms of my risk to reward. And it's been playing out just fine. And I stick by the breakdown triggers if we do get breakdowns of major moving averages. We saw Google basically recovered today. We saw Microsoft recover today. I don't know about Netflix. I didn't see that. Amazon was somewhat flattish. It's still under the 2050 day. Meta broke down, but it just quickly recovered. So I'm pretty sure shorts got trapped there when it was below 700. It's just so bullish. Like I'm gonna wait for confirmation. I'm gonna wait for the charts to tell me to get bearish. I'm gonna wait for the flows to tell me to start to get bearish. I'm gonna wait for the sentiment positioning to tell me to start getting bearish. Right now, it's just underweight. Underweight. Big money is just underweight. Underweight long CFTC futures. That's really all I got to say from the data that we're seeing. So, yeah, staying bullish, guys.
And there you have it. We'll come back around and get your picks here in just a little bit. Um, Fourth place, Jordan is not here. Don't know where Jordan's at. We'll send out a welfare alert. Check on him shortly. Nuts 19.42%. If this thing went through tomorrow, I think you might have, because Knott's had OSCR and OSCX. If this was tomorrow, you might have caught up with Vegas. It's been very close. I
Wait,
don't
does it
know. I'd
end
have to
now
run
or
the
does it end
numbers.
tomorrow morning?
No, it ended. It ended tonight. It ended up at the bell today. I'm just saying, if
Uh,
this went into tomorrow, he had double leveraged Oscar and regular Oscar. He might have caught up. You would have at least made it to second place, but unfortunate timing either way. I know your portfolio is loving it. Not,
yeah, his portfolio is fine, dude.
yeah,
I don't think he
doing
really cares that
fantastic.
much.
Not your Oscar absolutely running here in the after hours ACA. We heard some comments around there. If you have any comments there or any market sentiment thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, market sentiment, I'm going to keep it exactly to what Sam said because there's nothing else to explain. Just keep following the trend until the trend changes. You start to see things change up. Um, and I'll talk a little bit on Oscar. Yeah, I mean, I mean, take the same road that Sam kind of did too. We all kind of knew something was going to happen even before any of this was even said. Um, I mean, the Democrats wanted it. Some of the Republicans wanted it, and then you started hearing all these reports, seeing all these reports that it was really needed on the Republican side for the midterms. So the speculation was always there. The thought process was always there. And it just really did feel like uh, almost like a lob to home plate. Now, being that the Yankees are 0-2 in their series, they probably couldn't hit that lob as a Yankees fan. But
Better
it's
than the Jets and the Giants.
yeah. Hey, stop yourself right there. I at least bashed one of my teams. Um, yeah, it just seems like a home run. And so far so good. Um, just really need to see how the market reacts. And when this extension happens, when the government shutdown ends, and how everything kind of goes from there.
Can I just add something really quickly? Because me and Knox have been basically saying the same exact thing for the last few weeks. If you guys look at the chat, I put a quick just map of where all the ACA signups happened over the last 4 years. And you can see pretty much the entire southern United States, which tends to lean Republican, most of those areas have some of the biggest exposure to ACA. So this was a given that this was going to get extended. Why? Because most of these Southern Republicans would have got absolutely decimated during the midterms. So I think this was definitely a political gambit. Close out the subsidies. The Democrats fight for it. They make it seem like, oh, they're trying to subsidize healthcare for illegals, and then at the last minute they make a secondhand deal. And literally, this was one of those things that on in my honest opinion, was the easiest call to make, just because if you just look at the map, you're like, wait a second, this makes no sense from a Republican standpoint to not let these subsidies expire and basically throw about 22 million people into disarray with literally ACA premiums going up by 70 to 100% for people that are making less than like 50 grand a year. It just would have been really bad, bad the midterms. Now, the question is, what's going to happen over the next couple of years? Well, it turns out that now a lot of those healthcare cuts are probably going to be at least dialed back to some degree, which means that next year for healthcare stocks, it's going to be great because most of these guys already submitted their ACA bids, and now they're getting the tailwind of possible subsidy extensions. That's gonna be a huge tailwind for a lot of these guys. So look forward to next year being in healthcare.
Yep, some great additional commentary there. If you're not following any of these speakers up here up top, you should definitely go in, follow them. It will improve your timeline on this app. Also, check out a lot of things going on off of this app. There's a lot of great streams and stuff going on. I know Chris, Sam have done some really good streams. I've seen Knots on some streams and some others as well. Stay informed. Follow the people that are definitely very in touch with some of these hot topics in the market. I want to continue around here, around the panel. Andrew, let's go over to you next and get your market sentiment thoughts, and we'll hit Nick Drindle, and we'll come back to Chris for his, and then we'll get into the picks.
Yeah, what's going on, guys? Thanks for having me up as always. Yeah, the trend of the market is clearly up. The pace of the action is accelerating. We're seeing small caps moving really fast. I'm seeing new data points coming out all the time showing that call buying activity is really high up there. And it makes sense because we're seeing a lot of these names just make huge moves. So we're right now we're pretty much in an AI hype cycle, in my opinion. It's a really wild setup. I mean, Paul Tudor Jones said it the best. He believes this is like a 99 like scenario because we have this deregulation that's happening in government. The government is running huge deficits. And then the market is pricing in two more rate cuts into the end of the year. So you have all of this stuff going on. And then the AI hype, there's actually a lot behind it. Like today, I listened in, OpenAI had their developer conference, and they rolled out Agent Kit, which is going to allow people to build agents in a much more efficient manner. And now you're also going to be able to interact with apps that partner with ChatGPT inside of the platform. So it's really tough. Like when you have just this easy money environment, and then you have this revolution that's happening, and we can see evidence of it. And almost every single day, there's headlines about some big companies doing business with each other. Dollar bills flying everywhere. Yeah, this is pretty much like the perfect cocktail. So yeah, I think as a trader, it just comes down to following your system. If you have any sort of trend filters on the system that you're trading, it should be very easy for you to tell when things change in the market. But right now, we are seeing even financial media, it's getting really loud because this is becoming such a good topic just to get likes and clicks on. You can just be like, is it a bubble or is it not? And then, the whole conversation ensues. But to be honest, most of that is noise. If you just have a very simple system for trend following, you can really just tune out all of that stuff. So that's really what I'm thinking about the market. There'll probably be a correction at some point, and we will know when some of those key moving averages on the indices start to break. In terms of my specific picks for this week, I am going to go with the MSOS once again. Um, the president of the United States put out a video on Truth Social, and it was all about the endocannabinoid system. And I believe they're getting the base pretty much like mentally conditioned, mentally prepared to reschedule cannabis. And if you look at the chart of the MSOS ETF now, the chart no longer looks like a dumpster dive. Like the technical setup is actually really strong. It's been basing for about a month now. So yeah, it's really just waiting for some sort of news on the rescheduling front. My second pick is going to be RYM, which is Rhythm, and Rhythm is integrated with Green Thumb, which is the biggest cannabis producing company. Green Thumb sold the intellectual property of their brands to Rhythm, and now Rhythm is licensing those brands to Green Thumb. So every time Green Thumb sells their brands, they're going to receive revenue from that, which I believe is going to be a pretty high margin business, given that they're not actually manufacturing the cannabis themselves. So for my two picks, I'm going to go with the MSOS ETF, and then I'm going to go with RYM, which is Rhythm Common Shares.
MSOS and RYM from Andrew over at Real Pristine Capital. Andrew, you mentioned those moving averages. I mean, my new favorite moving average is the 1 day. It's just the 1 day moving average. I think that's where we're at in this market. I feel like at this point, Nick Drindle got a little chuckle out of that. Nick Drindle, you're up next to bat either way. What market sentiment thoughts do you have for us today, Nick?
Yeah, so kind of to piggyback off of what Andrew said, I absolutely think we're in the accelerated portion of this uptrend right now. I pinned the chart to the nest here where you see this a couple times in like later stage moves where you get pull back to say the 50-day moving average, which is what we got, I think it was September 2nd on that gap down. Then you get an extension upwards, then you get another gap down and kind of like a 3-day pullback to the 20-day. That gets supported. Then you get a gap down on the government shutdown. That gets supported at the 10-day. Then on Friday, we had bear market for about 30 minutes. That got supported at the 5-day moving average. And now you're seeing just pure like FOMO type buying. All of these charts are getting like very, very vertical from gold mining, metal and mining, just across the market, which is an extremely fun market to play in. And we're also in an environment where people aren't too long at this point. NAIM numbers came in last week at 80%, 80.6%, where they were at 86% the week before. So while the indexes are at new highs, while risk on stocks are flying higher, exposure is actually dropping, which creates that kind of perfect recipe for a blow off top move. Whether that blow off top move happens this week, early this week, later this week, I have no idea. But what you're going to see is either just absolutely massive volume come in on some of these speculative names like the Rigettis, the IONQs, which we haven't gotten just yet. We've gotten elevated volume, but price action wise, like it's been pretty clean for these stocks. Rigetti pulled back to the 10-day and support gap, bounced there. IONQ pulled back to the 20-day, bounced there. Like everything, Tesla on Friday pulled back to the 20-day moving average in the support gap, bounced perfectly on that point. So at this point, every pullback is kind of getting supported exactly where logically you think it would. And until we see either that massive volume true blow off push with the speculative names or some pullbacks to key moving averages or support gaps that just slice through the downside, I think you have to shorten your time frame if you're going to be trying to like put on new exposure at this point, because in that accelerated trend, when we do kind of snap to the downside, it's not okay. Here's going to be a 2-day break. Like that's going to be it for quite a while. It took a look at 2020 in September at the very beginning. We got a like 6 or 7 day final push into that move where everyone just capitulated long, and we basically had to base for 2.5 months until like the end of the year rally. And that's kind of what I think is going to happen. I don't know when we're going to get that final push, when we're going to get that kind of snap back. Because I mean, right now, again, exposure is not super heavy. We don't have COT data because the government shut down. But if you're playing the trend is up. You just have to really shorten your time frame. Make sure you're not buying something with like a wider stop or, God forbid, no stop. Because when the trend does change, it's going to be extremely brutal to the downside. But the last couple of days of an accelerated move are extremely profitable if you can hang in on some of your best positions here.
Some great thoughts there from Nick Trindle. Chris, I believe you're last but not least on the market sentiment side of things. What are you seeing in this market? Any reason to? I don't even know if asking people if there's a reason to have concern. It's more of where are you finding the most value and how are you approaching this market?
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely in a really bullish area where I think the rate cuts are pretty much guaranteed at this point. Um, I am looking at a little bit further into 2026 just to see if there's any sort of events. Because, look, when you look back at any of these major events that have giant market corrections, they tend to be centered around some sort of unique event that causes fear in the market to kind of just come in and take away all the air, right? So you need that giant pinprick to do it. Now, usually, with instances like this, there's usually credit events that come around. So if you remember 2008 was a credit event where home prices were coming down, and then you had all the buying and selling of mortgage-backed securities come to a halt, and that kind of just screwed up the whole thing. And then in the year 2000, we had the dot-com bubble where venture capital just kind of dried up, and then all of a sudden now all the dot-coms, they had to kind of survive on their own. And by that time, it was too late, and then everything just kind of collapsed on itself. So, anytime we have these major moves down after these valuation extensions, there has to be something that pricks the bubble. Now, one of the things is with AI right now, a lot of these people are calling, "Oh, AI is a bubble. AI is a bubble." Unfortunately, that's does not seem to be the case because there's just so much cash flow coming in from the hyperscalers that are able to spend that money and put it towards all these capital capex things. And it's not like they're financing a lot of this stuff on debt; they're financing it on just free cash flow. So that free cash flow is dwindling on a percentage basis. So it's something to just keep in mind. But it's not something that like I'm too concerned with over the next 6 months to a year. I do think that eventually the hyperscalers will have to be a little bit more rational with the total amount of growth that they have in spending on AI capex. But right now, that doesn't seem to be the case. So for now, I'd say just being long is not a bad place to be. Next year, there are a couple of things that we need to keep our eye on the ball. One is a weakening consumer. Weakening consumers lead to weakening fundamentals on a lot of other companies, and a lot of other companies end up causing cutbacks on some of the other things that they would normally spend on, that tends to flow into the balance sheets of the hyperscalers like Google and Microsoft and Amazon, who now have a significant impact advertising revenue. So if consumers start to weaken on a broad scale, that means that businesses will weaken. If businesses weaken, then of course demand for services will weaken. And then if demand for services weaken, then we kind of have, the hyperscalers kind of cutting back, because now it's like they're fighting demand destruction. So that's where we just have to keep our eye on. One of the things that is an early indicator that the consumer weakness might be starting to kind of weigh in on people is just auto loans. The automotive sector is not exactly doing too well. The used car market, they just had a couple of bankruptcies in auto lending, and right now you're starting to see dealer lots filled with cars. Used car prices are starting to kind of tumble a little bit. So, we have to just. I wouldn't say that that's something that's, oh my god, a 2008 level event, because auto loans are not exactly like as big as mortgages, but it is definitely something to keep an eye on. And then at the same time, you also have student loan default rates climbing, because now a lot of people who were basically put on moratoriums, that liquidity is basically drained now. So those moratoriums are gone, which means a lot of people have to now start paying their student loans again, and a lot of people can't. So if you look at like something I posted on my profile, you can see that the delinquency rates on student loan borrowers is skyrocketing. So, and now the credit bureaus are actually finally getting reports again about student loan delinquency. So all of those things are going to end up somewhat like lowering the credit ratings of a lot of people who have student loans, which tend to be in the 20 to 35 range, are some of the biggest borrowers right now. So you've kind of have this weird situation where a lot of these older boomers are retiring or passing away, and they have these giant homes that they need to sell, and the younger generation is saddled with so much debt and bad credit that they're not there to pick it up. So that's the thing that should be concerning long term, which is, okay, how are people going to buy these homes? And so if we get shelter starting to roll over, which it looks like clearly it is, you got yourself a pretty bad situation for well, I wouldn't say bad, but a deflationary scenario in the next few years. So yeah, sorry, that's just a lot of macro all at one time. So yeah.
No, that was beautiful. And Nick Journal's got a comment. Jump in, Nick.
Yeah, just to piggyback off that, if you take it like any company that average person spends money on, it's starting to go into a stage 4 downtrend. Like any food companies, Chipotle, Sprouts has completely started to fall apart. Um, Costco is just about ready to start a stage 4 downtrend. Like the average person, the things that they spend money on, those are like, if you want to look for anywhere to short in the market, that's what you should be focused on.
Yeah, fast casual is definitely getting hit hard. A lot of people are like, "Oh, same store sales are down." Well, what do you expect? The bottom half of the consumer is like totally out of cash right now, and the only thing that's keeping some of them afloat is a lot of credit card debt and a lot of BNPL loans. So it's one of those things that we just have to be very careful with, and those companies are going to be the ones that impacted the most. Whether you're a millionaire or you're someone who's making 10,000 a year, you're going to be eating at Chipotle. And if you don't have the money, you're not going to eat at Chipotle. So, of course, some same store sales are going to be down, you know? So, that's something that everyone's going to have to contend with.
All right, some amazing thoughts all around. Appreciate that back and forth right there from Nick and Chris. And let's get into some of the picks here. Let me go ahead and give out the picks that have kind of already been called out here. Actually, you know what? No, we'll just go to Vegas first because she gets to choose whatever she wants. As the current leader, we'll go through that, and any other picks, we'll call them out as we go here. But Vegas, can we get a repeat performance? I don't know if that's too much to ask at 48% or 40, yeah, basically 49%. But either
No
way,
pressure.
what two picks do you have for us this week?
All right. So you know what? I'm gonna take a little risk, and I'm gonna, I really would like to trade IBIT because the crypto's been so hot. Um, iShares, the iShares Bitcoin Trust, the IBIT. That looks really good. It had a 52-week closing high as well. I mean, I'm liking that one. I like Mara. I mean, I like both of them. Mara is obviously cheaper than IBIT, so you could definitely, do that one as well. But anyways, I'll do IBIT and as one pick. And my second pick, do you want some details on any of these? Let me know. My second choice pick is going to be, I'm kind of like flipping which ones I like because I have so many good ones that I really want, but I think I'm gonna pick Joby, Joby. And that one's had some Joby Aviation. That one's a really good one. I like it as well. It's got a lot of strength in the actual weekly chart as well. So I'm looking for this to have like a move to the upside as well. So those are gonna be like two picks. I don't really think there's an ETF. Is there an ETF on Joby? I have to look. Uh,
I haven't heard of one on that. There are a bunch popping up right now, but I don't think Joby has a 2x
They
yet.
have they have one called JOBX. Let's do that one.
Oh, they do have one. Okay.
Yeah, like they're a bit weird sometimes the ETFs because then sometimes the ETFs are cheaper than the price of the common, or sometimes it's like triple the price. So in this case, Job X is the 2x Joby ETF. So I'll take that one.
Oh, there you go. I learned something. I learned something every day.
Yeah, me too. Sometimes you find these new ETFs. I mean, so many new ETFs keep coming out on our daily, like almost like I feel like almost every day there's a new ETF out there. So, I'm like an ETF monster. I just love them all. I just like
There you
trade them
There you
all.
go.
Yes.
Vegas trading them all out there. Vegas
Yeah.
with the IBIT, IBIT, Bitcoin long, and JOBX, the 2x leverage Joby, playing the
Yeah.
that's the drone thematic, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a little, well, Joby's a little, I think they have the little aviation. Oh,
Leave it all.
aviation. Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna do a little video on it actually tonight. Joby Aviation. I think they have a lot going on because they do the electrical aerial rideshare, right? So I think that's really cool. I really actually want to try it out, because they have some good opportunities to to try it. So now that I got the FAA clearance, so I definitely want to try out a ride on one of those one time. So I'm definitely want to experience it. So it looks really cool. They have a lot of things going on. They have a partnership with NASA as well that started back in 2012. They just got so much going on with these, a lot of technology. They also have like a achieve. Then they got like the approval with the U.S. Air Force as well for things like that. And they also have a partnership, by the way. They have a partnership with Uber from 2020. So they have a lot of things going on. So I will do a little video on it tonight. And if anyone wants to listen to it when you have time, um,
Oh,
but I'm going to do a video on it, just explain the Joby story and what they're working on, because they have like so many multi-million dollar contracts as well, military contracts with the Air Force. So I think this is like things about the company that people may not even know that exist. So you'll learn a lot in the video if you watch it or listen to it at the very least. So I look forward to sharing that information, and we'll see how this trade can play out. So thank you. Those are my two
yeah.
picks.
Awesome. Thanks, Vegas, for the 2 picks. And we'll definitely be on the lookout for that deep dive into Joby. JOBX, her pick for the week. IBIT, the other pick, both on the long side. Stock Sniper's not here. Third place, Sam Solid. What 2 picks do you have?
All right, gonna make this quick. I am going to choose IREN for Iran. A little bit risky because it's been running, but I don't know. I gotta go with the winner on this one. And then I'm also going to choose. Oh, where is that one? I was trying to look for. I don't know if I want to go with Defiant ETF, but Direction doesn't have a 2 times HIMS ETF. So I'm just gonna go with screw it. I'm just gonna do HIMZ 2 times HIMS. I think that it's finding a bit of support here in the 20-day. Bounced pretty considerably today, or closed like right on the 20-day. Recovered it pretty nicely. You got pretty bad news over the weekend with Novo Nordisk, basically Novo Nordisk Wegovy, and also Eli
What about
Lilly's.
in Costco?
Yeah, in Costco, basically on the cheap price. And I mean, that's pretty bad news for Hims, but I think they already priced it in on Friday when it pulled back pretty considerably, way more than the market pulled back. So going long Hims here, HIMZ though, 2 times Defiance ETF, and we actually need to partner with them. But the other one, like I mentioned before, IREN. And yeah, actually, if Chris is available tonight, I want to talk more about the data center stuff on the Hidden Edge pod. You guys can find that in my profile. So yeah, it sounds good. I'm gonna let Knots do Oscar. I know he's gonna do Oscar.
Okay, well, Knott's had to drop because it's his anniversary, but he did send me his 2 picks, so I'll go ahead and call those out. Zeta, ZETA, and NFLU. So he did not take Oscar, which I think because of this big after hours pop, maybe that's part of the
Ah, yeah,
rationale there. Because it's like, well, wherever it opens tomorrow is where it starts. So
yeah,
Zeta, NFLU. From Knots, it's IREN, and
yeah.
HIMZ from Sam. Sam, are you worried about that? And maybe Chris wants to tune in on that real fast too.
What?
The Costco, and I actually even saw
Not
Sam's
really.
Club.
No, not really. Because wouldn't you see a big down day if that was really a case that Mark was concerned about? Rather, it was up 4% today. So I don't know. I'm gonna say that the market's balls to the wall bullish. I would say this is around probably neutral territory for HIMS, but it is still above the moving averages here. Actually, when I take a look at this chart over here, it's yeah, it closed above the 20-day, right on the 20-day
Right on
moving
it.
average. It
Yeah.
closed. Volume. I mean, volume is still the same. Like it isn't really like saying a story here. I haven't looked at the other ones, but I just like keep it simple when it comes to a lot of this stuff. But yeah, I think that in balls to the wall bullish market, I think this thing should be in like 60, $70 range. Justifiable for fundamentals and technicals. I mean, I don't know. Or fundamentals financials, I don't know. I mean, I am bullish in this company long term, but like, your guess is as good as mine what's getting up next week. But I'm gonna stay with the trend over here, and it's above all the moving averages. I actually want to go 3 times long the Chiefs tonight. Specifically, the over on it. I don't, not over the spread, but over on the scores. I think it was about a 45 point or
45
something.
and a half.
Yeah, I'm gonna go over on that one. I think this is gonna be a very fun game against Jacksonville.
Yesterday was a very interesting day in the NFL markets. There you go. You get a bonus pick. I'm with you. I like the Chiefs -3.5 starter. I'll be looking to buy some dips on that if I get them. Bonus pick there. Kansas City Chiefs over the Jaguars tonight on Monday Night Football.
No, 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 no. The over. The total points over.
Well, I'm giving the. I am on the Chiefs, but I'm looking at that over with you now too. So we'll see. That's.
Yeah.
But do we just parlay this? Me and you. Or just this is the
I don't
Sam
know.
Imp
Nah,
parlay.
I just straight up went just for the over. I did a small bet. I'm not gonna try to do anything crazy.
All right, plus 260. I'm gonna take a little. We'll have a little fun with that one. All right, that's the Sam and Imp combined bet. All right, Iron and Hems thinks Sam's solid and great job, third place there. Nick Drindle, let's get your 2 picks in, and then we'll go over to Chris last.
Sam, I absolutely love that Hims pick. I picked up some shares of HIMZ today. When you get like bad news followed by an unfilled gap up that recaptures like a key moving average like that, you just can manage your risks so tightly to the previous day's low that like in this type of market, you skew that risk reward in your favor. You roll the dice. That's a great trade idea. So I'm mad that you chose that. I don't know if there.
Well, you can always do just HIMS.
No, I'll let you have it. I'll let you have it. But really good pick. I like it. Is there leverage Costco by any chance? I
There
don't.
is
There is.
COTG. Our friends over at Leverage Shares just launched this one a couple weeks ago, live on one of our spaces. Actually, COTG
COTG.
is the 2x leverage Costco.
All right, let's do that. COTG on the short side. If you, yeah, just kind of going back to the average consumer being like out of money at this point. You're even starting to see like stocks like AFRM start to break down, which is not a great sign. So it's going to be a slower mover, and maybe it's not quite ready for that pure sell off like SFM is in right now. But eventually, Costco is going to start to break down here in a big way, maybe this week. So we'll do CO. What did you say it was? COTG.
Correct. COTG.
Perfect. Yeah, let's do that on the short side. And then on the long side, let's see here. I'll go with Lemonade. Lemonade, 3 tests of the 50-day moving average over the last like week and a half. Really good wick down today, then closed well into this range. And this is one of those stocks that when the market's hot, it can make some pretty linear moves. And it's one of the few stocks that are not extended from their 50-day moving average. So you could play it a little bit tighter. So we'll go with that.
So Lemonade, LMND, for anyone looking for the ticker symbol there, long side,
That's a
COTG,
good
short
one.
side, LMND. I want to ask on that one, and if anybody has to go, I completely understand. We don't have a space on the back today, so we're good to go a few minutes over here. But Lemonade, is this one got ACA beneficiaries
No,
in play here, or
no,
is
it
it
doesn't.
separate?
This is mostly focused on insurance coverage. Nothing to do with healthcare insurance. Mostly on like auto. That's like the cream of the crop. But they actually, well, they acquired Metro Mile, which is a SPAC back in 2021, which was just auto. But they have like a different set of products. Actually, I think I see here. But yeah, auto is mostly what their focus is in reducing costs
Property
and
and
everything.
casualty.
Huh?
Property and casualty insurance is their main thing.
Yeah, but I agree with Nick on that one. That closed right above the 20-day as well. I was actually looking at that chart. It bounced off the 50-day intraday
Like
today and
4 times.
fully recovered and closed above the 20. So that looks very bullish. And again, this is another one of those high growth stocks that, dude, this thing can seriously run if it continues with the bull market, which I'm just kind of surprised it didn't.
All right. Nick, did you have any other thoughts to add on Lemonade there before we move over to Chris?
Nope. That's it. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Thanks for being here, Nick. COTG short side and LMND on the long side from Nick Drindle. Nick Drindle, you actually had like a 4% return last week. Baidu was a 6% winner. You had a great week. It just happened to be on a week where just there was a bunch of explosive plays. But I just want to say
Only
I
4%.
just want to shout that out.
I'm surprised you left me back on with only bringing 4% to the table.
Well, you beat me. I had 2%. I'm slow and steady over here at 2%, and I beat the market, and here I am just getting blown out of the water in like ninth place right now. So either way, appreciate you, Nick. Wanted to at least shout you out. Baidu 6% return, not a bad pick at all. Just happened to be on a week with a lot of really really good picks. So either way, let's go over to Chris Patel, Mr. Chris. What two stocks are you looking at for the week?
All right. So one, I'm looking at SMCI. I think the data centers, everyone is focused on data center, data center, data center. Everyone's focused on chips, AI chips like NVIDIA, AMD. What people have been missing is just how much growth SMCI is likely to see and some of the margin improvement measures that are likely to eventually come to fruition next year. I think the market is slowly waking up to it. Today it was up 5%. I think the run can continue. So I'm going to choose one SMCX, which is the double leverage SMCI. And the second pick, I will pick CNC, which is Centene Corporation, which is a health insurer. It's not as exposed to ACA as Oscar is, which is a pure ACA play, but it still has a large portion of its member base coming from the ACA market. So
I
those two.
love that you pulled this one out because I literally had so many questions on this. I found this. We were on stream on Friday, live trading stream, and I pulled up this chart. It looks just like UNH's chart, but like one day behind. Huge gap fill. It entered into the gap fill, back tested the edge of it today. Actually, I saw some flow coming in on it as well. Some people were buying some leaps on Friday, and I was like, "What does this company do?" I asked Jaguar and some others about it. Now I'm curious if you had any additional thoughts. I would love because I've been staring at this, going, okay, this chart setup looks great.
All right. So I'll give you the bull case on it very, very quickly. Centene Corporation does primarily Medicaid and ACA plans. If you look at their revenue base, it comes from those two things. So one of the things is Centene's been working with a lot of the states in order to raise premiums that they get from Medicaid. So Medicaid has some of the thinnest margins in the country. So the profitability can impact the company's prospects a lot. So right now, if you look at the total value on Centene, I think the PE is like I think 8 or 9. Now, because they're so small, they're able to kind of be very nimble. But one of the things that a lot of people don't know about Centene is that 80% of their ops cash they use towards share buybacks. With with this company trading at such a low multiple, it is very value accretive to basically buy back shares. So a lot of what we're seeing in terms of margin improvement is going to come on the back of 2026, and the people who are in the know, they've been buying. And if you look at pretty much all of healthcare sector, managed healthcare anyway, you've pretty much had executives buying shares at this low prices. So there's a lot of insider buying. People understand that this business model is very short-tailed, which means that if they have a couple of bad years, they raise premiums the year after that, they control some of their costs, and boom, now you've got margin restoration. These things are trading at literally decade lows. So value accretion in terms of share buybacks is going to be massive for these guys next year. So one, margins are going to be recovering, and two, they're going to be buying back shares at a pretty hefty discount to what they were originally trading for less than a year ago. So yeah, that's your long-term bull case on Centene.
Well, I
Uh,
appreciate that. I saw the chart, so I was like, wow, and I saw the flow, and I was like, okay, I need to ask people smarter than me in this area that have dug into the company a little bit. That's really interesting, though.
yeah,
CNC is that ticker.
Yeah, they have a pretty good CEO too. She's a pit bull, so she's gonna do the company will do well. The one thing I just wanted to mention, Nick, be careful trying to go short Costco only because even though the consumer is weakening, if you look at the median income of the households that shop at Costco, they're about $125,000 a year. All right, so those consumers are not necessarily the ones that are going to be impacted as much in this K-shaped economy that we have right now. If you look at it, you're looking at more trouble in something like Dollar General and Dollar Tree, which tends to cater towards more of the lower income that are actually being hurt significantly right now by this current economy. So if the if the point is that, hey, we see the bottom half of the consumer weakening, Costco does not necessarily align being 100% impacted by that. I mean, I'm sure they'll be impacted. Don't get me wrong. It's just it won't be at the level that's crazy. Now, on terms of valuation, Costco is more expensive than Nvidia right now, which is insane if you think about it. Like, but there's a lot of loyal people at Costco in terms of like their share base, and so they also do a lot of special dividends towards the latter half of the year. So I think that could also keep people in the name. But yeah, I just wanted to make sure you knew that.
Yeah, my idea with that is if you compare like Costco's chart and Walmart's chart, I think we're just going to get more rotation of Costco like purchase rotating to Walmart because Walmart's chart looks phenomenal now. But if like inflation continues at this rapid pace, that higher income earner is going to have to rotate to the Dollar Generals and Walmart type stocks, and
That's a good
that's at
point.
least my thesis.
That's a really good point. I didn't even think about that.
Well, that's why we got these spaces.
Yeah, Walmart's the greatest company on earth, so I love hearing that thesis right
It's
there,
such a
Nick.
good looking
Just
chart
appreciate
too.
you. It really is. It really is. Like my bias aside, it really is a great chart. And you compare it. That's one thing I have been watching is like Costco compared to Walmart. The two charts are telling completely different stories. And I actually pulled up Dollar Tree about 30 minutes ago, when you guys were actually going through some of the macro. And it was funny that it was just mentioned there by Chris. That chart looks terrible. You look at DLTR on the 200-day. I mean, maybe it holds here at the 200-day, but uh, 200-day there. Dollar General is pointed downward, just basically gap filled today, almost to the 200-day. I also looked at Target, which when I think of a weak consumer, I think of Target, which Target's got their own issues, but Target's still trading down here at lows like 5-year lows, 6-year low, 5-year lows. Where Target's at COVID lows right now. That it's just something's going on there as well. Very interesting. All right, crew. Appreciate everyone tuning in. We went about 12, 13 minutes over here, maybe a 3-minute late start on my end. So either way, appreciate everyone. Make sure you follow all of these great speakers. I'm going to go ahead and hit post on all these picks. Boom, that is up and ready right there on the Wolf Financial timeline. Let me call out some of the picks from the people that couldn't make it tonight. Let's see. I called out Knotz's because he left early. We have stock market news with PYPG and BMNU. He's on a Southwest flight somewhere right now, so there's his two picks. He's got that leveraged BMNR, BMNU. Gav, Wolf Financial himself, ROBN and TTXU are his two picks. My two picks, Pan G, that's Pan W, but 2x leverage, Palo Alto. That chart's probably my favorite chart in the whole market right now. It finally broke out today, Friday and today, basically, new all time highs. It's got like a quadruple top up here that it's breaking out of. Huge base. I really like that chart. I am bullish cybersecurity as a whole. And it's just relatively been performing or outperforming a little bit to CrowdStrike. So PANG is my first pick. My second pick is Visa. I think Visa got a little bit unfairly punished a couple times, but it's got this big downtrend. The 200-day moving average caught up to it. It did a little undercut reclaim. Every moving average on Visa is basically sitting in the same spot. It's all sitting right in this 340 area, 342 to like 344, no matter which. I mean, from a 200-day to a 50-day to a 20-day or a 921 EMA on the daily, they're all right there. And if you draw a trend line that was coming down from the recent all-time high, It broke out of that, back tested it, and held today with a big bottom wick. Looks like it wants to try to get through this 350 area. So Visa is going to be my second pick. So PANG and Visa. I believe we've called out everyone's picks. If not, they are in that tweet. And let us know who you think's going to win underneath that tweet. I'm taking a look through here right now. Interesting. We have a couple shorts this week. We're all over the board as far as tech. We have Bitcoin in here. We have some healthcare plays, some insurance plays, MSOS, Fly, AEHR, a lot of different things going on here. CNC, SMCX, our current champion, JOBX with Joby. I don't know. You guys let us know who do you think's going to win. Some great thoughts. Big shout out to the crew. Big shout out to the ones that hung on here a little bit over time to share some extra thoughts with us. Appreciate all of you guys. Nick Drindle, Chris Patel. You see Vegas, our current champion, up here on the panel still. Make sure you give them a follow. And of course, we had Knots here earlier. We had Sam Solid, um, Andrew at Real Pristine Capital, Ben over at Story Trading, and some no shows that still at least sent me in their picks with Evan and Gav there. Appreciate everyone. Hope you have a great rest of your Monday. Time for me. I've got a meeting coming up. But time for me to get some food and throw on Monday Night Football and get some work done over here in my area. Hope you have a great rest of your afternoon, your evening, your night. Or I know see one of my friends down there. He's over in Europe, maybe morning. I'm going to say good morning to him. But either way, take care. Enjoy. We'll see you guys bright and early tomorrow on Wolf Trading for our future show that starts at 8 a.m. Eastern. Whole full day of spaces after that. Make sure you check that pinned tweet for the full schedule. With that, signing off. Take care, everyone.